everybody. It's Tuesday. It's Omni X-Men Tuesday. That means that we're talking about another mutant comic. That means we're asking the important questions like how do you pronounce Chode? And we're getting into the important things that people want to know, specifically Bizarre Adventures 27. And we got an amazing stacked panel tonight. Starting off with this guy, my partner over here. What's up?
I think it's Chode.
Okay. Chud. It's Chud.
Chud.
Yeah, it's that apostrophe. It messes me up.
It gets me every time, man. Every time. What's going on, John? It's Tuesday, man. We're back with Omni X-Men. I'm pumped, man.
2 episodes really of the show left.
Yeah.
I realized I was making my last slideshow for a few months.
Oh crap! Yeah, that's right.
Felt good.
Felt good. Well, I mean, I'm looking forward to this because this is a good chunk of slideshow, I imagine, with all the different issues.
It is a jam-packed book, and we had to have a jam-packed partner to really do this tonight.
Yep.
Yeah, and here he is. We got Paul from Back2Back Issues.
Gentlemen, good evening.
What is up, Paul?
Welcome to the show, sir, man. I'll tell you, I was super excited when we noticed this. At first we had a bit of a panic. We noticed, oh wait, there's this other black and white comic in here we hadn't planned on reading. What are the odds we can find anybody who actually has this book?
Yeah.
And this guy was the first person I asked, and he's like,
leave it to Paul.
I got it right here.
Paul's got everything, man.
That's actually an upgrade. I used to have a really beat up copy from my youth, but that copy's pretty sharp.
Nice.
Dude,
nice.
I was like blown away.
Book, though.
Yeah, right. This is still a very reasonable key.
And it's all like heavy hitters. It's like John Buscema. I think the Nightcrawler story looks like Cockrum. So I mean, there's some pretty heavy hitters involved.
Yeah, definitely.
Kind of like you two heavy hitters. I'm privileged to be joining.
I don't know if you call that guy. I don't know. Wait, can I just say this is you two right here are my Wordle crew. I don't know. You guys should really be texting each other as well because I get texts from John every day and Paul every day and literally just trading back and forth. So you two are back to back are the two that I'm always exchanging with like every morning. So great. This is really fun.
I am the least competitive person. Like I grew up with guys and they were super competitive and I lost the whole taste for it as a kid. I was like, whatever. I do it just to be like, hey, that was fun. That was fun. Like it was a puzzle. So I'm sure if I threw Paul in, it would be like fun. It would be a little competitive.
But then John throws in a nudge like, oh, I did better than you today. And I'm like, you mother.
I will say that. I will say that. But because it doesn't happen very often.
Well, I hit Justin with the hard mode the other day. He didn't even know there was a hard mode.
I had no idea.
There's a hard mode.
Yeah, for Wordle. Yeah.
Wordle. I'm sorry. Wordle.
Yeah, I don't need that. I don't need that. New York Times is messing me up enough as it is.
It's pretty cool. It spices it up a little bit.
Right.
So funny.
As a reminder, the links down below for everybody's YouTube channels are there. If you want to follow these gentlemen, if you want to find everybody on over on the Instagram, same deal. Look at the names; they're all right here.
Yep.
So definitely check everybody's content out. These are really quality creators. And next week we're over there on this guy's channel for the final issue.
Oh, 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks. Sorry, it's 2 weeks.
We'll take a semi break there.
Sorry, my bad. So on the 21st, we'll be back on Justin's channel. And we'll have Magic Lasso with us to discuss the Untold Phoenix story. So be ready for that.
Yep. Looking forward to that. Yep.
Let's say hello to our friends who are hanging out in the chat, tailgating, or what have you. We have Bear Island Comics, my old homie from Comic Core, and he's been doing these hilarious videos that I'm still trying to understand because I'm so out of video games, but where he's been taking the enterprise mode of like soccer games and creating a story around his team as he like builds a soccer team. It's
nice.
I didn't realize how in-depth video games had become, but clearly they have. Lasso is here and he's got his usual question. He says, how does Bobby Drake feel when the X-Men leave him all alone? Isolated. There it was. John has been on a rollover on lateness down to 3 minutes. I watched my timer. I was live before it turned 6:01. So I'm going to call it on time.
Yep.
Maybe even early. I mean, I don't know.
Very, very punctual.
You define it. You define it for you. And he does it only 1 minute late. Who is this man? I'm saying it's right there. John's Comics with Clocks.
Yep.
Kenneth Bird, good to see you, sir. I hope things are going well. Yeah, we got a black and white magazine sized book for us tonight.
Roy Kirk.
Definitely. We got my man Old Wolf in the chat. Tony, how you doing? Your winnings from my giveaway are on the way. Hopefully you get those really soon. No, it's kind of like Marvel Fanfare. It's another one of those like collected several stories kind of books. We'll get into some of those details on that.
Yeah, it's better. It's better than the fanfare stuff, I think.
This is a simple fact. Brother John is in the chat. He says it's the handsomest YouTube panel. And there's John. I get it. I'm okay with that. I get it.
Wow.
Justin is looking for Lego sets as birthday presents. I mean,
I'm saying I got this little owl here. We're chilling right now.
All open to these things. I've got my unfinished Batmobile right there.
Nice.
We got Fable in the chat. What is going on? Station to you, sir.
What's up, Fable?
What's up, Fable?
All right, so let's dive in. We like to remind you that at the end of each of these shows, we are asking trivia questions based on the previous episode and issue when we were over on Justin's channel. This is one of the last opportunities to get into our giveaways that we're going to be doing on the 28th of June. Lots of books, lots of comics, lots of things to read being given away. So you want to make sure you at least are on the wheels somewhere, being possibly pulled out of a hat to get something. So stick around to the end. Make Paul laugh, and you can make the list. So that's really where it's at when you get to the end.
And hey, I wanted to give a big shout out to Nicholas Lane 77. He's the one that's doing the drawing or did the drawing for one of our raffle giveaways, which I know we've talked about in the past. He had just reached out to me, just reminding me. He's like, "Hey, I'm ready to send this whenever you guys call a winner." He's been watching our shows, so Nick, I know you're watching, brother. Appreciate you, man, for catching these replays. So, yeah, man,
that's awesome.
Cool.
Yep. So we also want to discuss at the beginning just a quick overview of our thoughts on the book. So like we said, this is Bizarre Adventures 27. This is a collection of 3 different stories, each with its own writer-artist combo, and each focusing on a different mutant. As you can kind of see here in this picture besides Paul, you got Iceman in one, you got Nightcrawler in one, and then the lead story is Jean Grey as the Phoenix. So I know it's hard, Justin, to kind of distill the book down to one grade when you might like one story a ton and not like another, but we got these 3 stories. How would you give this book a grade?
Yeah, so I mean, I really enjoyed it overall. I think that I didn't really know what I was getting into at first. Just looking at the cover, seeing the 3 characters that we got, I thought it was like a team up between the 3 of them. I didn't even know it was 3 separate issues. So as I was reading the first issue, I'm like, where's this story going to go if there's another 30 pages to go, you know? And I'm like, as I'm reading on until I finally get to the end of the first story, I'm like, oh, okay. So now it's like shifting gears. So there's definitely some, super corny moments. I definitely like laughed out loud at a part or two as well that we'll get into with like the Nightcrawler stuff and whatnot. But overall, for its time, especially, like a very fun read, and I would definitely recommend it to people. So I'm gonna rate it up there in that 8 to 8.5 range overall. The artwork was fantastic. Black and white. I do wish it would have been a color thing, but I don't, whatever the angle was with these Bizarre Adventures, if they were all black and white or whatever, it's still cool, still great. But yeah, so 8.5. 8 to an 8.5, I think is where
that sounds great. Yeah. What about you, Paul? What are your thoughts?
It's definitely cool mix of kind of stories. It definitely feels like some inventory stuff that they just kind of maybe wanted to get out there a little bit. So I'm gonna say, I mean, if we're going grade wise, this cover is definitely a 10. I'll go on record to say, obviously, this cover is the best part of this book. Not that the book is bad, but the cover is just that good.
Yeah,
it really is. And that blue Phoenix in the back there. Yeah,
it's just the color combination and just the way the characters look is definitely a great cover. But I mean, it's a cool mix of stories. I mean, it's 3 kind of, Phoenix is, I guess, more of a frontline member, but like Nightcrawler and Iceman, just kind of some solo stories. Actually, Iceman references several times in there how cool it is to be like solo, and he's getting some love, so he appreciates that. So it's cool stories. I mean, overall, it's like a 7, I guess.
Yeah, and I'm somewhere right there in the middle. I'd probably say an 8.0 on this book. I think that's totally fair, and I think that's what Justin was saying. And I agree with all that you guys are saying. I do think it's fun sometimes to have those solo stories where you can see Nightcrawler on his own or Iceman on his own. Right. I'm not as big a fan of Iceman, so he always ranks like with Angel there for me a little bit. But Phoenix and Nightcrawler are 2 of my faves, and so obviously that's going to be just a fantastic thing to get whenever you can get it.
Yeah.
We got Chet Scotland, our guy in the chat. He's saying can't stay long, stuff going on. We appreciate you. And it sounds like Old Wolf is very happy because it means he has a chance to maybe win some raffle questions here.
It could happen.
I get it. Well, you guys were talking about that cover, so let's dive into the slideshow and look at this cover. Justin, what are your thoughts when you saw this cover?
It is like I feel like it. Well, what did we clarify the year or when this came out? It's $1.25. July.
Sorry, I got it right here.
81,
okay.
So it's definitely like 81, June of 81, okay. June 16th.
Wow. So I feel like this is like futuristic looking kind of, and it's gorgeous. It's a beautiful cover. The detail that's in it, it brings these characters to life in a different way than what we're kind of used to seeing, especially the way that they're drawn. My dog agrees. He's very excited as well.
Big fan of this cover.
Yeah. No, I'm all on board, and I definitely this is a book that I feel like I want to hunt down now at some point, and, you know, try to find a nice copy, which I bet is probably somewhat hard to find since it's that darker cover. The spine is, you know, solid black for the most part. So, but I could also see this book, you know, being well loved if people have been reading it back in the day and whatever. So, yeah, I like this cover a lot.
And Paul, I know you mentioned it as well. What were some of the things that just drew your eye on this one?
I think kind of like you mentioned briefly, the colors on it. I mean, for one, I like the blue kind of Phoenix bird behind Phoenix. You know, usually it's
kind of a rare, it's rare, right? Yeah,
different kind of look, but it fits. Like you got the green, the yellow, Nightcrawler is red, black, the kind of baby blue, Iceman silver. I don't know, the colors just all kind of really pop with the red logo.
Yeah,
it's definitely like the kind of cover if you were walking by a rack or, you know, saw it on the wall, definitely like draw your eyes to it, you know.
Totally.
Which is probably on purpose, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, and I love the font for Bizarre Adventures. It just seems like a fun retro sci-fi kind of style there. Like,
definitely.
And then I do love the little details, like the fact that her leg is seen through his leg. Like Iceman's leg is transparent, and Jean's leg appears through it.
I didn't notice that.
Little stuff like that really works for me. I'm not super familiar with Paul Gulacy, the artist who did this cover.
He's probably mostly known for Master of Kung Fu, I would imagine.
Oh, is that it? Okay, that might be why, because I haven't read any Master of Kung Fu, so that'd be why maybe I don't. I'm not familiar. It does look very much like almost like a painting to me. Like it has a very like different.
Yeah, he had a very
the texture.
He did like a lot of like his art. If you look at even like a lot of the Master of Kung Fu stuff, he definitely took a lot of references from like real life. Like characters looked like real people. You know, like he would. I don't know. I can't think. A swipe, I guess you would say. Like the way he drew the characters he'd make them look like somebody, like a famous real person. You know,
That's cool.
Nice.
Let's see. So yeah, great cover. I think it just makes you want to dive in, and then of course you're kind of tricked into like, look at this amazing color, and then you get black and white. But again, I have no issue with black and white if it's done really well, and I feel like there's definitely panels in here where I dig it. But I can totally understand people that weren't fans of the black and white. So let's dive into like these first few panels. Justin, how are you feeling about the black and white we get here? We start with a little thing on Phoenix, right? A little file on Phoenix, and then the splash page of her sister at her grave. How did that transition for you, the color to black and white?
I thought it was great. Like I like how they're doing this X-Men data log, and you know, like we're really digging into the files of, you know, this character, and it even lists, you know, just some of the details of her powers and where she grew up and her parents' names and all this other stuff. So I like that they gave that detail. I thought that was cool. And then the splash page, really beautifully done and really sad. If anything, the black and white really fits into this emotion of what I took it as is like this sad, obviously she's at the grave of her sister, and it's her thoughts kind of are setting up the scene, I guess I could say, you know, as she's visiting the grave. So, you know, really beautifully done that splash page there. And I was definitely intrigued to keep going.
And Paul, you mentioned the colored version that Roy Kirk is mentioning here too, that you've got the True Believers there.
True Believers is in color, which is funny. That there is an interesting point in the story, though. I thought was kind of funny that they had to, you know, well, I guess if I go too far, I'll kind of give away one of the main story. But basically, because she has to reference it when Jean wakes up in, I'm assuming Atlantis. She references that she's blue because she's been
because they have to.
You don't know that in the black and white, but
exactly. the fact that her skin color has changed.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
Which they do
By
say it out loud, but because you can't
Yeah.
see it in black and white.
Like
Right.
if you're just scrolling through that book, you know, you would like you have to read that to know that.
To know that,
Right.
yeah.
You can't skim that one. You might miss that.
Right.
What's up,
But I mean,
Perry?
in general, I'm not a big fan of black and white comics, to be honest.
Mhm.
Probably why I don't
Sure.
read a lot of independent stuff. Or
Mhm.
I know it's beautiful, especially like a lot of the '70s magazines. These great artists, the black and white. It is beautiful to look at and stuff. But I'm just
Yeah.
a fan of color, I guess.
Mhm.
And then hello to Sove. What is going on? Good to
Hey.
see you.
So what's up, brother?
What's up, Mike?
So I tried to include, by the way, the artist and writers as we get into each portion here, because
Yeah, it's great.
it's not in the Omni. Like they
Yeah,
don't
I
tell
was
you
wondering.
anywhere in the. I don't know if they tell
Right.
you in the True Believer or in the other version, but there's no spot where they give you the talent name. So I just
Yep.
wanted to make sure it was clear for people as we go through these stories. So this is the Buscema with Klaus Janson doing the inking and Claremont writing the story. This first Phoenix one.
Yeah, that's cool. It's a
Yeah,
good
a
team.
lot of Usagi is done in black and white, and so totally you can get it, and like the early TMNT stuff like that, and Conan, yeah, some of the great Conan books, black and white. There you go.
Again, John Buscema too, drawing that. I mean, I guess his hours is great. So I mean, black, white, color.
It could stand up to
Didn't
it.
matter.
Right?
Yeah.
It's gonna be legendary.
All right, so she's at the grave. Sister's at her grave, having some thoughts about their life together. We've seen Sarah in previous stories involving younger Jean, but haven't seen her in a good while. And so then she's thinking back at the gravesite to this weekend they spent together on Shelter Island in New York, going out, taking a sailboat out, being hit on by some random schmo on the dock, knocking him into the water instead of just saying no thanks, which is a little harsh maybe. Then jumping on the boat and just sort of sailing off. And then I'm just going to stop us right in this spot here. But as they're sailing along, Jean's showing off using some of her powers. But then there's like a submarine and they gas the ladies on the boat and they fall into the water. And there we are. The vacation, yet another boat drama in the X-Men universe.
Claremont's favorite.
Right. So Paul, what are your thoughts on this boat ride with Jean and her sister?
I mean, just such a random kind of story, you know, like I guess like plot device or whatever for a story. Just like, you know, they're gonna go boating for the day, and you know, they get, like you said, they get hit on by these kind of like pervs, and Jean kind of just, you know, dusts them off a little bit with a little Phoenix power, and then then they're on the sea and they don't realize this massive fog kind of rolling up on them, and before they kind of realize what's going on, it's too late.
With working with Storm for so long, you think she'd be like, okay, the weather's changing kind of abruptly. What's the Storm doing?
Yeah, I think she says that, something like the weather was supposed to be beautiful. I don't understand what's going on. You know, next thing you know, they're gassed out and they're prisoners.
Justin, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Paul. It definitely seems very random of a kind of situation, but I get, you know, we're kind of flashback in here for a sec, and I do laugh at when she throws the guy in the water. He's like spitting water out of his mouth. In that one scene or whatever. Pretty
up there by Fergie. Yeah,
it's like cartoony and funny. Yeah. So yeah, interesting little, you know, setup here for sure.
All right, so then after falling into the ocean underneath the waves, as they're sinking down, they have another flashback within the flashback. There's like a two-layered flashback going on.
I forgot about that. Yes.
And then she's remembering how mom said, don't play near the street, cars come fast. And they played near the street and the car came fast and the kid got run over, and Jean's power sort of manifested itself and she was able to connect with her friend as her friend died in her arms. And some of the scar tissue that goes along with that double. Now we're like, it's a little Inception here, right, Justin? Like we're in a flashback with a flashback.
Right. What's the real? Yeah. What's the real timeline here and everything else?
I can't even.
True.
Right?
Yeah,
it's too much. Were you able to keep up with that part at least, Justin?
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit. I have to say that I wasn't expecting it to get like that dark. With, you know, with the kid, you know, the corpse, or her best, you know, it says her best friend's corpse as she like holds her. Yeah, I mean, really like sad really quickly, all within this, like, hey, I thought we were like having fun on this boat and, you know, throwing people in the water and stuff.
There's some
It was
definitely
kind of a
incredible
dramatic
coincidence.
like,
yeah.
a sea change, if you pardon the pun, I guess.
Right.
But,
It took me out of the story a little bit. I was like, wait, aren't we already in a flashback?
Yeah.
What's
I
going
feel
on?
like this is a very like key part of Jean Grey's like character, though, right? I mean, it's like
Yeah.
the most like defining kind of origin, like it's been told many times. I'm actually curious though, in all my readings of X-Men through the years, is this the first time they kind of introduced this aspect of her origin? Because I don't recall.
That's a
it
great
previously,
question
Ooh.
that I don't know the answer to, but I was assuming that this was something we had heard before because they had
Mhm.
kind of, in a lot of those early issues,
Maybe.
shown us, Cyclops's mutant power when it first developed. And I thought we had a little bit of this, but maybe someone in the chat knows.
I'm guessing. I
certain.
guess I'm just was like thinking like Silver Age. They wouldn't have went this dark with their
Mhm.
origin, I don't think. But maybe, who knows? I mean, I mean, Uncle Ben got shot. You know what I mean? So things could get pretty dark in the Silver Age too, I guess.
Okay, so we got Jean suffering through this memory, and then she comes out of it, and now she's remembering how she became Phoenix, and then waking up, like you mentioned earlier, all blue, breathing water, because she's now underwater, still able to talk somehow. Don't necessarily get full of that. I'm breathing water, she says. She swims over to a nearby bed, finds her sister also losing her cool, sister freaking out. Try to calm her a little bit about the idea that no, this happens all the time. I wake up as Slave Leia underwater, breathing in blue. It happens all the time. It's part of being an X-Men.
Yeah.
And then the villain shows up. And the villain's like, this was my plan all along. I am Atuma, Scourge of the Seven Seas. I love a spirited woman occasionally. On occasion.
Occasionally.
And then he's got a banquet ready, and his guards are swimming over, and they're eating, and he's talking about how he's going to control them forever. This villain has a big plans.
Yeah,
Well,
that he does.
This is where some of the like, is this where he like admits like his plan is that he's basically gonna have these or like have kids essentially to like what's he want? He wants to like
he wants to create an army that will help him retake Atlantis, basically
for these mutants. He wants to go
by
out
using mutants. He's got like
women.
This is not like I'm taking over Atlantis this weekend. This is like, no, I'm taking over Atlantis in 3 generations.
Right.
Like,
and he's like, I'm starting with you two. And like,
he's gonna need some blue pills for those blue women, I think. That's a lot of army he needs to make.
On top of which, he's only kidnapped one mutant here. I don't know that this other lady's gonna really be useful.
Right.
I guess he just assumed everybody was. What's actually funny though, that's a big part earlier in this story is her sister's very concerned with her children and them potentially being mutants.
Right. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of discussion there on that.
Yes, Sarah is having a flashback of Jean having a flashback. I think you got it. I think you
Nailed it.
He is a very good creepy female stalker.
Yeah,
this is true. He wants to kill Jean and mount her head above his bed so she can watch him.
Oh, that's right.
It's very complicated. This is the other thing. Why does he need a submarine? He's got a flooded submarine under. He can breathe underwater, right? I don't know about the submarine.
Oh, that's Krista.
Krista is very clever.
She had just started watching our show recently. She was leaving a couple comments. So good to see you, Krista. Thanks for hanging out.
You're not wrong, JP. And we'll talk about X Factor Annual 4 very soon when we get to the end. We'll get to it.
That's right.
Any other thoughts here on Atuma before we? I know that we kind of skipped over the like breathing underwater thing, but I think we got it.
Well, I just want to say I love the panels on the bottom there of the ladies, like really stunning, really beautiful drawings, I think, overall. And of course, just Phoenix, posing the way she is, kind of standing forward there. Really, really good stuff on these pages.
Always brings the glory. Right? I mean, it's like if you guys if somebody hasn't read his like was it Silver Surfer run, I mean, come on. That's just an iconic set of art. Just everything about it. All right, well, let's take ourselves along here, and now we've got Jean basically saying, "You idiot! I'm the Phoenix. Are you kidding me with it?" Going full Phoenix power, taking out his guards pretty quickly and pretty easily. She's like, "Oh, I'll just deflect their energy back to them. Voila, done. I got him. Those guys are down." Then Atuma's like, "Well, I got a big sword. That's how I'm going to defeat Phoenix. Big sword always wins." And she's like, "No, I'll stop your sword. Like the sword won't hit me." And it's like the sword is like hovering right over her. And then he's like, no, I'll just push harder. And she's like, I don't understand. And then she throws him into a wall and collapses the ceiling on everybody. And they swim away with some dolphins and realize that they can't breathe. They can't breathe the air anymore. They're still blue. And her sister almost dies trying to breathe air.
Yep.
Yes.
Any thoughts, Paul, on this whole escape and battle with Atuma?
Well, I would say yes. She definitely dispatches his badass looking army fairly easily. You know, it's like, you know, we're leaving now. Party's over. But yeah, that was kind of a cool twist because you know, like some stories they wouldn't even bother to go into the detail of like, well, now they're water breathe. You know, they breathe underwater. They wouldn't be able to survive on land. You know, so they did make that like a point. And then Jean obviously just alters herself to be back to normal, but her sister, she kind of has to kind of use her powers on her, and she explains to her that it could like result in her death, so to speak. So it's pretty cool. I guess it builds a little drama at the end because by this point everything it's all over, you know. But Tumor is moved on to something else, and you know.
I mean, really, has he? We'll see later on. He doesn't move on very easily. Justin, any thoughts on Atuma's great sword?
Yeah,
it looks a little like a butter knife. I'm just going to be honest.
A very large butter knife. Yeah, I just like how he tries to apply more pressure and hopes that he's going to somehow break through. Yeah, the army demolished pretty quickly. Really great facial expressions really throughout this. And the one particular scene is right next to Paul, where the sister, her face is so shocked, and it's just really well done. I think that actually both
face is so like intense, right?
Yeah. I think if anyone has time to reflip through this, just take a look at some of the face expressions. It's really well done.
For sure. We got some people talking in the chat here. Didn't he take the playbook from Namor, who tried to kidnap Sue all the time? I mean,
sure,
but this is an up. I mean, I love Sue Storm, but he's going redhead Phoenix. That's an upgrade on several levels, in my opinion.
I agree.
Gus is here. He says, hey, JP, so when's the next Comics Will Break Your Heart Sandman breakdown? So those that are interested in Sandman, with the show coming, and Justin and I starting Omni Sandman at some point here. Yeah, it's good.
It's a great title.
There's the date. It's starting on my birthday, June 22nd. There's the date. That's a good day. That's a good day. All right, sorry. Take that. He says, take that, Bear Island. There you go. That's what all right, so they make it to shore. She fixes her, she's like, I can make you so you're not blue anymore. And I love the sister. The sister's like, I understand. It's just so lovely here. I want to stay.
Right.
But I want to go. I need to go. I must go. I have responsibilities to Jean, husband, and children. I love them. She's abandoned them. I love.
She's like, if I was single,
right? She says that. If I was single, that's horrible.
I can see my wife giving this speech. Is where I'm at. Like I can see my wife having this speech where she's like, "It's nice underwater. Like it's super quiet, and the outfits look amazing, and I don't have any kids to take care of, and there's food. I don't need to cook." I just feel her weighing her options really well.
I just love that. I think it's several times that she's like, if I was only single, if I was single.
Yeah, she does mention that a couple different times. Like, I would.
It's just such a really casual thing to say.
Coiling over this. This doesn't happen in a lot of comics.
Right.
Which is weird. What part of it did she think was so beautiful? The kidnapping part, this barbarian that wanted to impregnate her in front of her sister's head. Like,
just the dolphins, really. Just the dolphins.
Yeah, the dolphins.
But who can blame her? I mean, dolphins. Krista says wielding swing weapons underwater is always effective.
Always.
I mean, it's a good point. Justin, any thoughts here on this toiling that Sarah is going through?
Yeah, no, I think we hit it on the head there. This was something I was like laughing out loud at too, of just her saying, if I were only single, like she legitimately was like, like things would be different if I was single. I would totally take on this. It's just, it's funny.
It's powerful.
Yeah, powerful.
And then of course, they're back to normal life, and saying goodbye, and then back to the graveyard, and she's saying goodbye again. And that really cool Phoenix panel in the back there with her ghost kind of at the end. Any last thoughts on this first story? I know we took a lot of time with this one.
I mean, I guess that it is the longest story in the book, I believe. Although the Iceman one seemed to drag on for a while, but no, this was
we'll go faster through that one.
This is definitely the the peak story in this book. I mean, Claremont, Buscema, it's good stuff. I mean, it's just such a weird kind of like a tumor. Like it definitely is like it's not your typical X-Men story. Put it that way. It's
Justin, any last thoughts? Sorry.
Yeah, I think that I was just wondering what was going to happen with the Tuma, like, because the way he said, like, I'll see you back. Like, I was wondering if they would like go back after him at some point, because he clearly still has this evil plan that he's going to continue to try to do, I assume. But they never really answer that. But
do not worry. I'll explain it. I'll hook you up at the end. And then we jump into Iceman's story here. Great George Perez art. Got the data file and. Wait, is that the wrong Iceman? This is the one that Justin sent me.
I was hoping that you were having some Top Gun stuff.
This was the one Justin told me to put this one in. This is not Iceman. He even says it behind him there. It says Iceman.
I have not seen the movie yet, Justin, but I think I saw a spoiler online.
Justin is single-handedly keeping it in theaters, so you can count on him to see it 3-4 more times. It'll still be out there. Yeah. You'll be good.
I mean, you can spoil it for me, I guess. I don't think it'd be a major spoiler. Mr. Kilmer reappears in the new movie, from what I've seen.
That's what I hear.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
Cool.
Yeah,
I'll check that out.
It's good, Paul. I'm just saying, it's good. It's really good.
I'm gonna try to get us through the Iceman story a little faster. We'll see what we do.
Yeah.
We've got Winter Carnival.
This is Iceman. I thought it was Fredo.
We got
Fredo. I'm smart.
He does look a little bit. He does have the hair. Bobby is at college, and Bobby is enjoying Winter Carnival and adding sculptures. He notices, wow, somebody did Angel. That's really cool. I think he's really thinking, what the heck? It's snowing, and somebody makes an ice sculpture of Angel of all the superheroes. So of course he makes his own Bobby Drake one. Everybody comes is like, well, that's really cool. Let's have a snowball fight. And everybody's throwing snowballs at each other. And it's like, man, this is really crazy. And then all of a sudden, robbers show up and they're stealing computers. And everybody's like, what is happening around here? Iceman turns into ice, breaks his clothes off, charges in to fight, and just battles these guys. Freezes this guy, knocks these guys into a giant snowball, makes a giant ramp, and like sends these guys all around, does some like cartwheel flip moves, and battles these guys. I will back it up and give you a chance to talk just a second here. And then at the end, when he's done capturing these guys, everybody claps. Everybody's proud. They're like, wow, Iceman's really cool. And they're really impressed. And he's like, why did they want to steal this stuff? And where the cops are investigating what's going on, they talk about Yellow Jacket and some of the scientists who are building things in that lab. So what do you think of this intro, guys? Here, I'll back up to that first one. Justin, we'll start it off with you. Bobby Drake at college, doing his snow thing.
So I was trying to think, the last time we saw him, he was at college again, and that was where Professor X like showed up, and he was like he was freezing a beer. You remember? I forget what issue that was. But anyway, so yeah, I always just have that vision. I don't know much about Iceman. I haven't read much about him other than what we've covered, and I haven't read the older stuff. But I love the snowball fight. That was fun. I would just assume he would demolish everybody in that. Other than that, it just kind of reminded me of like Home Alone, the way these guys are sneaking in, sliding something in and staying there overnight to like break. I just pictured the guys from Home Alone in this. So.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, this is silly fun and.
Well, I love. Doesn't somebody even at one point say like, well, that's why we're pulling this job in Boston? Like, you don't pull this job in New York. Right. All the superheroes are in New York. Nobody's here in Boston.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
And Bobby shows up. What about you, Paul? Any thoughts on these the start here where we get Bobby in college fighting criminals?
It's just once again, very just a very kind of random, just But aren't these guys like aren't they like a distraction? It ends up being like a professor or something that's really trying to steal this.
This is the twist that's coming.
But this beginning part is just very, like you said, he kind of is like wow, they made a beautiful Iceman, angel, ice snowman. Like, what's up? What's up with me? You know, he seems a lot of times in his story to like reiterate, like, this is really nice being solo. I kind of like being solo. You know, he's.
Yep.
I don't know if Marvel was trying to do something.
Maybe
but...
that's the theme here. We got Sarah saying, I want to be single. We got Bobby saying, I want to be solo. There's a theme.
He's enjoying the solo life.
Right?
Yes.
Red Solo Cup.
Oh, boy.
I mean, in general, Iceman's powers are just kind of like, I mean, they're kind of ridiculous.
Don't disparage an
like you said, he's
level,
making
Omega level mutant here. He's an Omega level mutant.
Like,
it's true.
You know, slides and snowballs.
Yeah.
You know, he's just kind of. I think Emma did more with his powers when she was kind of like possessing his body back in the day. But yeah, he's definitely, you know, he's
so good.
He's cool, but he's you know, he's Iceman.
Well,
he just happens to be in New Hampshire too during a snowstorm, ironically enough.
So Bobby is investigating this crime. He thinks it's a little strange, this theft. He's like, I don't get it. There's this weird professor that they were talking about. He's like, nobody seems to really know this guy. I don't know what's going on. So he goes back that night, and the bad guys are there again, and they're robbing the place again with this weird professor guy. And they're passing by all these sculptures of superheroes. And then they pass by Iceman twice, which ego-wise makes total sense. But in reality is actually the real Iceman who starts freezing them and battling them. And then they have this wand thing. The professor bad guy blasts Iceman and like removes his powers for a moment until he flexes and gets them back within like 2 panels. All good.
It's all about the flex.
Back. He also tricks a bad guy by basically putting a ramp in front of him. And the bad guy doesn't stop running.
I noticed that.
The bad guy just flips over the ramp. He's running fast enough like to run up the ramp and fall.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a good move. Then he makes a full ski slope and he skis after these guys to catch up with them. And in the end, uses his ice powers to destroy the little wand thing and launch it into space to explode and cause like Christmas to rain down. Did I capture it all, Justin? Did I get it all?
Yeah, no, that's the gist right there. I think you're spot on there.
Any thoughts on this this part of the story, Justin?
Can you go back to the panels of the bad guy walking past all of the different statues?
Figured you want this one.
Yeah, that was definitely my favorite moment for this part of the book. I like it was another like kind of laugh out loud moment. Just at like the silliness, it was like a cartoon, you know, and I could see as a kid like really cracking up to this and appreciating. So I like that they did this little bit here and showing off all the different characters. So pointed out too that there's a Ghost Rider in here, which he's like, oh, Ghost Rider made the Omni X-Men. It's so funny.
I mean, we weren't going to mention him, but now you made it. So
yeah. So yeah, I was laughing at that. I do also like just how it shows in the book. Like the panel layout and structure and everything.
It's a cool spread page where you get across the top all those heroes, and he's talking about them as he goes by. It's cool.
Yeah, I'm glad you pointed out too the part where he like tricks the guy by like making the ramp in front of him, because I did notice that. Yeah, that like stood out to me that moment.
Right there next to Justin, you can see him make the ramp in front of the guy, and then the guy
he just keeps running.
And just falls down.
I think he stole that from like Wile E. Coyote.
Yeah, right. That's like, this whole thing's like cartoony, Looney Toony, like for sure.
Paul, any thoughts on this battle between the professor and Bobby?
I mean, it seems like it should be a severe mismatch, but for some reason, this guy's giving Bobby Drake a little trouble there to start off. And then he, like you said, he kind of flexes his power back on, and he, you know, takes this wand and destroys it.
I don't know what the wand is really doing, because it like he fully blasts him with it,
and it just seems odd if it is. Yeah, and especially if it is something that is like geared towards like Iceman or cold, you know, it just seemed like it was very a lot of foresight was involved with this guy, that he just knew, I might need this. I might need to go up against an ice superhero. So let me, like, I don't know, it just seems like a random, you know, of all the weapons he could have brought to defeat any of the superheroes that may show up and give him trouble.
it's that
kind of had this wand to melt Iceman, basically.
He's lucky guy.
I don't think it's technically called the pimp cane, but I mean, it could be. I don't know that they name it. True first of the professor's pimp cane.
I was thinking Harry Potter with this like wand.
Ooh,
He's a professor. He's, you know.
There's definitely some Home Alone questions. JP is wondering about the paint cans and the the Matchbox cars. I didn't see any of that.
Guys like the sticky bandits here.
Bandits.
All right. So any final thoughts on this story and Bobby Drake's portion here?
No. I think this was the weakest of the three.
Definitely for me.
Agreed.
Very low.
100%.
Awesome. Hey, Sheena is in the chat. Good to see you.
What's up, Sheena?
Girl. So now let's get into the multiverse of Nightcrawler. This one is called Show Me the Way to Go Home. We got Bob Layton and Mary Jo Duffy on the story, and Dave Cockrum and Ricardo Villamonte, who I'm not familiar with, on the art. We have a little Nightcrawler dossier, and then we jump into the crew watching an old Zorro movie one night and just chatting up the characters and what's going on. The team seems to be enjoying it, and then they get an alarm. Something's going on. They run out to wherever this is happening. This Vanisher character seems caught halfway in a teleport with this black stuff all over him, and everybody says, what is happening? Where's the rest of him? Nightcrawler, be careful, don't touch him. Nightcrawler says, but I only want to. And then he touches him. He just told you don't. What are you doing?
Like a little kid, you know? Don't touch.
He touches him, and of course, then we get the multiverse of Nightcrawler.
So cool.
This, crazy dive. And so I won't go any further than this, but Paul, what are your thoughts on this like crazy happening here?
Yeah, it's definitely a meeting of the teleporters, so to speak. I think they referenced what happened to Vanisher. He went to teleport in an issue of Champions, I think, in Dark Star. He got caught kind of in, I think, her power. But I mean, obviously Dave Cockrum, he's like the quintessential Nightcrawler artist to me. He the miniseries. Actually, that should be in one of the Omnis, I would think. Did they make an Omni with the X-Men like miniseries from the 80s? They should if they don't, but
I don't know if they did. Yeah,
I'm not sure. Yeah, not sure.
But anyway, so his art,
I mean, he gives Nightcrawler like 20 abs in this drawing.
I know. I was gonna say he's definitely rolling like a 20 pack. But yeah, it's definitely like a wild. This panel is like wild, you know. Then this, you know, after this, the kind of like you said, it's basically like this weird multiverse, some kind of weird meeting of various. But in the way he draws the Vanisher is he's not Brad Pitt, put it that way.
No,
right?
He's very weird looking.
But his cosmic suit is kind of cool here with like the.
It is.
It's like a Mr. Universe thing. Isn't that the guy's name?
Captain Universe.
Captain.
He's like he's definitely.
Justin, what are your thoughts here on this story? I'll back it up a little for you here.
All right, so this splash page right in the beginning, I love these types of moments. I know we talk about this all the time, but just seeing the team doing non-superhero things, watching a movie, you know, teasing about it and hanging out, you know, Logan having I'm assuming a beer, you know, and them just hanging out. The artwork is very different too than what I'm used to, and so I really like it. The other thing too was I wanted to say for Bob Layton, he's an artist too, right? Was Bob Layton an artist? Or didn't he do covers? Or
yes, he was a big. He did a lot of inking. He was like Iron Man's like co-writer and inker for like many years.
Because I've seen his name on covers before, like some.
Yeah, cover artist for sure. Yep.
Okay. And then going back to the splash page there, which looks amazing in the omnibus, by the way. Yeah, just the double page there. Going through each of these little side versions of the two characters was great. I thought it was fantastic. Like this would be a pretty cool like piece of art to have on the wall. I know Vanisher is not like Vanisher's not like a big name or whatever, but for Nightcrawler, it's a pretty cool moment, I think.
Oh, absolutely. And I love that you got a female version of Nightcrawler on the far side by Spider-Man. Yeah. You've got the Daffy Duck and a rat one at the bottom.
Yep. A couple robots. There's like robots.
Crazy what you're getting.
None of the Bamfs though. Those little like kind of weird like kid Nightcrawlers there.
From last issue or from last show. Yeah, the Bamfs.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah,
that's great. Okay, well then inside the other verse, here's what I was thinking of the entire time. And I don't know how big of Monty Python fans you guys are.
Yes.
But this reminded me of Castle Anthrax completely.
Totally did. Yeah.
If you don't know that story, at one point,
so
one of the knights discovers a castle full of virginal women who just want to get laid. That's basically all it is, the entire castle. They only have one punishment, she says, and that's spanking. And they want to get spanked. But the whole thing is so hilariously overdone. And that's what I was getting vibes of this whole time. So the universe where they both land, split apart from each other, just inhabited by gorgeous women, scantily clad, and they're all just super happy to meet him and want to make him their god. And they're going on and on about how, you would be a great god, we need you. And then they find Vanisher, and they want to do the same with him. You could be our god. No, we can have lots of gods. You know, it's absolute hysteric insanity. Yep. And then they bring them both back, and they're like, "Yeah, you can join. We can all be gods. You can rule us." And Vanisher's like, "All right, I can do this. This could work."
He's down.
And he's trying to use his like magical suit, which is very like symbiote-esque, and he's making a sword, but then the sword falls apart, and then he's juggling it. Nightcrawler's like, I don't know that this is gonna work for me. I'm kind of religious.
He's uncomfortable, very uncomfortable,
but he's still willing to drink with these ladies. What are your thoughts here, Justin, on this place?
This is what I mean with like a lot of the fun. I think a majority of the fun that I had was with this issue and just the silliness that had gone on with it. Obviously, the story is not very strong in the sense of like what we're used to with what Claremont's done from what this omnibus, but it's still just a lot of fun and just a lot of laughter that goes on. There's definitely some cartoony moments that continue to carry on. But yeah, I mean, again, not knowing anything about Vanisher, kind of cool to see like how he has this suit that can do kind of like what you said, like a symbiotic type of style, creating things, even though the sword doesn't hold up. And then he switches over to the juggling. Also, I'm glad that you included your whole story that you mentioned about Monty Python, because that is so on point. That did cross my mind at one point when I was reading this. I love that movie and Monty Python in general. So,
and Krista has the line of the night. She says, "I remember him as a X-Men villain once, and then he disappeared."
Yep.
On point. Yeah, he vanished. Are you saying he vanished? Paul, what are your thoughts on Nightcrawler being a god and being worshipped by gorgeous women?
Yeah, it's definitely again, kind of just a random kind of thing. You don't know, is this like his inner feelings? Is this like what he felt like he should have banned it? I mean, he's definitely like he's the swashbuckler. He likes theater, old cinema kind of stuff. So maybe he wants to be that kind of the main man, so to speak. But and so now he's on a planet where they're like worshiping him, basically. So it's definitely like Justin said. I mean, it's just a lot of fun. This story.
I don't remember America Chavez and Doctor Strange finding this verse.
I know.
I definitely feel like they found a lot of the like scary, post-apocalyptic, we're all gonna die verses, but not this one.
I want to go to this one. Let's go back to this one.
Exactly.
I'm just saying,
verse with like women in a castle. Let's find it.
All the food and everything,
right? And it seems like there's a ton of food, ready to go.
It's funny too that these panels. Yeah, if you look at the way the Vanisher's drawn, he almost looks like a caricature. Like everyone else is like a more or less realistic comic book kind of style, and then he looks very like like he's like a caricature almost, like the weird facial expression and stuff. So
he reminds me of it's called a Dark Force suit from that Champions run that
Doc Star, the whatever she shoots out or projects, it's the Dark Force.
So he actually reminds me of the villain, the one orange villain in the Frank Miller movie, not The Spirit, but the first one.
Are you talking about
Sin City, the
Yellow Man? That drawing right up, kind of next to John there. It look right, the big ears, bald head,
That's hilarious.
That is true. He does look like him. That's wild.
Yikes. So then Nightcrawler's like, okay, wait, I gotta figure this all out. And they're like, oh, we can take you to the TV. Like we have this TV, and on it is this granny who's going to explain stuff to you. Granny's like, "Oh, what's wrong? You need something? Like, let me tell you what's going on here. You can stay here if you want, but there's like, there's a big volcano, and it's there's lots of crazy universes going on here. there's a little crater a few miles away. She says it exists in every reality. And if you want to jump into it, maybe you get out of here. He's just, what is going on in this place? This is the little old granny. And then he figures out where he's got to leave with everything that he came with, which means he's got to convince the Vanisher to go back with him. Vanisher's like, what is wrong with you, dude?
Loving life.
This is the dream. So then they start fighting, and there's swords and broken bottles, and then not really effective fighting skills as much as it is like, it's comedy fighting. And they chase each other around until he tries to use the Dark Force suit on him by grabbing him, but every time he uses it, it kind of just falls apart on him. It doesn't really work all that well, which basically leaves Nightcrawler to be able to kind of like try to trick him into finding this monster they have to fight, and then realizing, we shouldn't stay here, and then basically teleporting back to where they came from, and that's the end. And then, the Vanisher says, "Oh wait, I'm naked now. I don't know why, but I am." And then he vanishes.
Yeah, I love the what he actually says there. He goes, "Stand back, X-Men. I warn you, I'm naked." He's just standing there, and then he just flink right. As he is flashes out. Oh, by the way, so that was one thing I forgot I wanted to mention too, was when they're in this wacky world when he goes to Bamf and it goes poot.
It doesn't bamf the way he bamfed before.
That's what I was like.
Different sound.
Yeah, I like laughed out loud at that because they're like, the girl is like, poot. You'll have to go poot. Like she's asking him in that one scene. And he's like all sad and embarrassed, and he's like, He goes, "No, I'm trapped here." So awkward. He's doing poot. Vanisher is doing putt.
Yes.
And so they're pooting and putting everywhere. And so that was another thing I wanted to point out that I was cracking up at. That's what really made me laugh. Going to what you're saying here, the TV thing, definitely a far stretch there of randomness for sure. As some of the people in the chat were saying, this issue is definitely living up to the title of Bizarre for sure.
I mean, Jackson was saying it's better than X-Men 153. That's where he's coming down on this one.
So I'm with you. I think I didn't. I mean, I'm like 153. I still have some type of way about it. But the so this also the TV head. I just immediately thought of Prince Robot the Fourth from Saga.
Sure. Well, of course,
I'm like, ooh, are we getting a little Saga action here for just a second?
Same kind of TV, if you really look at it, with the antennas.
And like it looks like a neck, it just looks like it could
Maybe
be.
This is the idea where it was all kind of.
Brian K. Vaughan is like, I have this
Fiona
idea.
Staples. Fiona Staples is like, I know exactly what this guy looks like.
But the girl, the lady in the television, very fairy tale like. The fight scenes were silly and in that cartoony kind of way. But I will say the artwork is pretty cool throughout this, even before they get into it, and you see all the jewels and when Vanisher's like enjoying life and he's like living like a king, I just like the detail that they do put into a lot of these pages.
Sure, for sure.
That was cool. And even when they're swinging the swords and stuff, like the kind of the swaying of the action scenes that are happening, I thought was really good too. So
I think that's something that you generally get from black and white comics is a lot more depth and a lot more detail for in a lot of cases.
Makes sense.
That's just when you're left with just the inking and the art itself, you tend to get that detail a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Paul, any thoughts on how this story kind of goes with the fight and the escape?
This poltergeist-like TV that they're feeding into. It's definitely just such a weird kind of, definitely a crazy story. I mean, but beautiful. The art is beautiful. I mean, you can't dispute that. So, I mean, it's not heavy lifting, this story. It's just they throw down briefly, and and it's like. More or less, like the ending scene is very a lot of comedic, mostly like this story is, even the end part where he's like, I'm naked, and it's like, but it is weird. I don't know why they chose I guess they need this alternate verse they were in that their his teleportation sounds were changed. It just seemed odd, an odd change,
especially to poot.
Poot.
So,
I mean,
the girl's like, poot. What do you mean you go around and poot?
Right.
I 5 pooted on that 9th hole. It's definitely weird.
Exactly. So funny.
But I mean, it's Cockrum, it's Nightcrawler, X-Men. Like even that one panel with Storm in it, it's great. I love that like vintage kind of classic Storm drawn by Cockrum. I mean, it's perfect.
Totally.
So good. So good.
And I love the way he draws Nightcrawler teleporting in that next panel. That's also like very classic, like that cloud of
Absolutely.
True.
purplish smoke with the Banff. That's springs back all. That's generally my favorite era of X-Men. So to kind of see his art on the X-Men with, kind of some of the classic stuff, even though the story in general is kind of, I don't want to say silly, but it's more light. Yeah, it's
that's fair to call it. It's fair to call it that. Yeah. No, but you're right, and I think that this is an issue overall, even across all three of what we've just talked about. I think this is like I would totally recommend an X-Men fan to certainly take time to read this, even if it were to just be like a flip through because of the artwork. Like the artwork is something I think really what pushed it, to the top for me. And yes, I chuckled at the corniness of that. And I think as long as you have the mentality of, okay, like I'm getting into this, which was kind of written to be this like cartoony style, as long as you kind of have that, ready. This is clearly not, some of the classic stuff that he's written, previously to this stuff. But I think it's definitely a fun read that I think I would at least recommend to X-Men fans to check out or pick up if you see it.
Nice.
Yeah.
What's up? Daryl's here. Read your comics. How's it going?
What's up, Daryl?
Good to see you. Mark the Cutty Sark. This is John from TikTok. Occasionally I do stuff on YouTube.
One and only.
It happens.
From
So let's get into some of the info here at the end of this trilogy of books that we've kind of gone through pretty quickly. I gotta say, we
crushed it. Yeah.
The time pretty well.
Yep.
I wanted to mention, and we've talked about it before, but Atuma will kidnap Jean Grey again in X Factor Annual 4.
Oh, we gotta go check that out.
If you want to see where this Phoenix story goes, that's the follow up.
Cool.
Or if you're Magic Lasso and you want to make sure you avoid it, that's the one to avoid. Also, for those that wanted to know, the Vanisher got stuck when he was attempting to teleport at the end of Champions issue 17.
Okay.
And that's what kind of leads into this, where he's kind of stuck and Nightcrawler grabs him, and then
vanishes. I like that they tied that in a little bit.
Yeah. He won't be in a comic again till Secret Wars 2. So we haven't had Secret Wars 1. Secret Wars 2 issue 7 is the next time the Vanisher reappears.
Oh wow.
If you will.
Yeah.
Just in time for some spec talk, Daryl. I know that's what you like. That's what you're here for. Don't worry about it. So this book, there are about 29/8s and about 29/6s, and they don't sell for much because they don't sell for often. That's the reality. Not one sold since 2021, and that was July of 2020. It's been a while, been a hot minute, but just not a ton of them. I know not a lot of people don't like to slab magazine sizes. This is definitely a book that shows the wear really easily because it's such a dark cover, and those magazines, when you read them, they get those spine ticks quick. I don't know how you feel about yours, Paul, how well it stood the test of time.
I think it's pretty sharp, actually. I said, I had kind of more of like this. The spine is pretty
nice. It's not a square bound, right?
A couple little ticks. No, it's
nice. Because some of those magazines are square bound, and then they really show the wear.
They are.
Right.
Definitely. Those ones tend to show it. But it's a pretty fresh copy, actually.
Yeah,
like I said, I kind of had more of like a beat up copy, and it was cheap. I mean, maybe I paid like $10 for this a few years back. It's
wow. Okay.
It's not really like an expensive. Even on this chart here, a 9/8 for $74. That seems kind of I'm not into the slab, so to speak, but I mean that seems like a reasonable price for one that's a 9/8.
Totally.
I mean, absolutely.
I was gonna say if I found this book, at a shop that was graded 9.8 and it was $74, I would definitely buy it and then probably send it to the company of Morb and Paul to break open, get your services ready to go.
No, you join them on a stream and do it with them.
No, I would destroy it. I would mess it up. So I'd have
my only regret with this is all it has is the Jean Grey story. It would be pretty cool if it had the other ones.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. You said it's only the one. That's right.
Yeah, to see like the Nightcrawler story like in color. Actually, you know what? That last game.
Oh, see, I would like to see the color.
Sorry, let me.
That is definitely. I would like to see how the color version was done.
Right.
Overall.
So
that's
this
cool.
The Phoenix definitely cool. It's just
when they released that, like for
this came out and they released a bunch of Jean Grey Phoenixy. This is February of 2018.
Huh.
But there was a bunch of true believers like focused on Jean Grey at one point.
Gotcha.
I
Probably
don't
for
know why.
when the movie
Maybe
came
in
out.
2018, or they had, or maybe they started. When did I know X-Men? They all came out with their own like solo series: Jean Grey, Iceman.
Yeah,
I think
but that was
around
a while
time.
back. Yeah,
Was that a while back?
I thought so. Sove says he got a copy for $4 last year, so there you go. Hopefully it was a good one.
Cool.
So on my list.
I will remove the screen. Any last thoughts, gentlemen, on this trilogy, on this book? Paul, I'll start with you. Any thoughts here you want to wrap up with?
I mean, it's, as an X-Men fan and collector, I mean, it was a must to get this book. And like I said, I had a copy from back in the day. Always felt a little weird to me, like it didn't fit. It just wasn't like classic X-Men. Atuma, this weird universe that Nightcrawler went to, Iceman fighting weird demented professors and like common criminals with like ski masks on. It just such a weird, from what I was reading at that point, bizarre. No doubt it lives up to the name. It's just not that kind of typical. It's
as I say, your typical street level hero, Iceman.
Yeah, right.
That's what we all think of when we think of street level heroes. It's Iceman.
Iceman and Nightcrawler and Vanisher was just kind of a random. Like I think someone mentioned, he hadn't been seen since like X-Men 2 or something.
Right.
20 years earlier, just about. So he
vanishes for big gaps and then he comes back.
He's not an A-lister. Then he was in a recent movie and he really wasn't in the movie.
You just couldn't tell he wasn't there.
He was, he got 1 second of FaceTime of Brad Pitt in that role, I guess.
Justin, any last thoughts here before we go on to trivia?
No, I think I covered my piece there. Definitely want to add this to the hunt list. I wouldn't mind finding this out in the wild and not pay a lot for it. That would be nice. But yeah, to find a nice cover, architectural in the chat. I agree that we were talking about the cover earlier. Definitely a killer cover for sure.
Definitely the best part of this book, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
the cover.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to finish with our 4 trivia questions. They're based on issue 153 when we were over on Justin's channel last time. So if you saw that episode or you read that issue, you could have a shot at getting the correct answer. The first 2 correct answers get entries into our giveaway. The first answer, or the funniest answer, according to Paul, also gets an entry. So that's 3 entries for every question. I'm going to start us off this time around. Last time I made a comment because we had a cameo from Carol Danvers in the issue. And I said, check out Carol Danvers' t-shirt, because what was on Carol's t-shirt? I was highlighting something that Carol Danvers was wearing in the comic. Tell me what you think funny wise. Hey, what would Carol Danvers she have on her t-shirt? Make see if you can make Paul laugh.
It's a good, there's definitely opportunity for some comedy there. So anybody who has some good comedy,
some 9 Inch Nails.
There you go.
It was a 9 Inch Nails t-shirt. We know she likes her throwback 90s stuff, right? That's what it was. I feel like this is good enough for me. So just saying Shazam.
That's fair.
Is that fair?
Yeah, I think that's
because
fair.
it was Shazam's lightning bolt. It was the original Captain Marvel Shazam logo, which was maybe a shot, somebody taking a shot at DC there. I don't know. Shot across the bow.
Little nudge, little poke.
So I got a lasso, and I believe Sove, you're on the second page. Yeah, I got Sove. And other comedy, we have Ziggy picking his nose. I mean, that's right.
Wow, Ziggy.
She had a mustard stain, big old mustard stain.
I hate
it
that.
Was Batman slapping Robin right there on her shirt.
Classic.
A picture of Rogue.
Ooh, that's cold.
Yeah, that might not go well. It was a picture of beer poured on it. That's what she had. Was that a wet t-shirt contest? No. There it was, the water for the wet t-shirt contest. Paul, what do you like? Any of those the winner for the day?
Just because it's kind of cold, I'm kind of liking a picture of Rogue. That would be pretty funny to see.
Lasso wins. There you go, Magic Lasso. Well done. Ooh, a King John t-shirt. Everybody wants.
Hey.
All right, Justin, what's your first
was rocking his last week.
Was
Yeah,
it?
I saw
Nice.
that. Yeah.
I saw the picture on Instagram.
Okay, my first question is, who or what did the character Lockheed represent during Kitty's fairy tale story? Remember last issue she was telling this fairy tale story. She had replaced all the characters with other names and things like that. So who or what, I'll say, did the character Lockheed represent during Kitty's fairy tale story? And remember, so Lockheed wasn't actually the Lockheed we know.
Yes.
Or we know now,
The one that
was not around at that time.
Did not exist.
So this was technically the first time that we had heard the name in general, just in X-Men books or any books. So I thought that was interesting, kind of a first mention of. But what did it represent? What did Lockheed
I see that? Whoop.
Oh yeah, we got a couple.
Thing jumped on me here. I've got Sove.
Yep.
And I got Lasso again.
That's correct.
There we go.
Wait, Sove and Lasso were back to back already? Did they both just? Wow. Oh, nice.
Yeah. JP just a fraction of a second behind them. But what else could it have represented? It represented Dick Cheney. It was our Vice President Dick Cheney. Toto from The Wizard of Oz. That's what it was representing. It stood in for that. It represented her dad.
Oh,
that was deeper metaphor.
Yes, very.
Wolverine's sandwich. The infamous sandwich.
Yeah,
Diana Ross's tour bus. You got to save time by taking planes. You know, the bus goes too slow. American imperialism.
Wow.
Bigger ideas here.
Yep.
Some really big thoughts.
Yep.
Paul, any of those the winner for this round?
Only because it's Wolverine, I got to go with the sandwich.
Nice. JP knows how to play this game. He throws that sandwich answer in there at least once a show.
Just like Bobby always tries to throw in your mom.
Oh yeah, that worked last time.
Generally plays well. Generally goes over well. The Dragon Queen. I got a lot. Look at now. There's some furious answers coming in. Something Cyclops has no personality. I mean,
architectural.
All right. This next question is really for somebody who read the issue. So if you got your Omni out right now and can flip to the page, you can get the correct answer because we didn't talk about it. But on rereading and flipping through, I noticed Kitty Pryde's t-shirt right at the beginning when she's morphing through the rooftop to talk to the team about, I'm getting work done, I swear. She's got a pretty cool t-shirt on. What's on Kitty's t-shirt?
Another t-shirt.
It was not discussed. I like a good t-shirt. You know that. I probably have a better collection of t-shirts than comics.
Comics. Yeah, you probably do.
This crew definitely. I've been trying to get a lot of team shirts here. So
point.
What was on Kitty Pryde's t-shirt? Classic Marvel moment there.
Yeah, I had to flip back for this one. Back.
Right.
Although once I saw it, I was like, oh, I do remember like taking a moment to really look at and try to remember what that was. Yeah.
All right. Was it Wolverine's sandwich again? I mean, it could have been. It could have been. New Kids on the Block. I mean, NKOTB is always good. Different band, AC/DC. That darn mustard is really hard to get out. That's good. Was it just Diana Ross, the actual person on her shirt? The correct answer is ElfQuest. It was an ElfQuest t-shirt based on the Marvel comic series. And Sove says ElfQuest because of Lasso. I mean, that's fair. If you see Magic Lasso, you can copy and paste.
Copy and paste, yeah.
I mean, it's a safe bet that
he even managed to write in because Lasso. Man, that's good.
I mean, he took the time. Carol is wearing a Shazam t-shirt, but not Kitty's not wearing a Shazam t-shirt. Wait, it was the 80s. Menudo, wow. Stranger Things ahead of its time. Flashback, maybe you could get away with that. Paul, any of those getting you laughing?
Man, only because it's a blast in the past, and I haven't thought or heard of them in years. I got to go with Menudo.
It is.
Nice. There you go, Daryl.
Daryl was digging in the memory banks on that one.
He went a couple layers deeper. Lasso is never wrong. Always copy his homework. I mean, it's fair.
This is true.
Alf. Ooh, Alf.
Alf. That'd be cool.
All right, Justin, final question of the night.
All right, I'm going to go with this question, and it's actually not a question. It's going to be a fill in the blank. So I'm going to read this one panel, and you just got to fill in the blank. It's actually it's two blanks, but it's the same word just within a sentence. And it's Wolverine as the scene is he's walking into the hallway, and Nightcrawler calls him over and says, "Hey, we're listening to the story that Kitty Pryde's telling. Come take a listen and check this out." And he's like, "Listen." He goes, "It better be good, Fuzzy, because I feel pretty blank standing here, and I don't like to feel blank." What was Wolverine saying to Nightcrawler as he was expressing himself, trying to check out what it was that Nightcrawler was referring to?
Fill in the BAMF.
Yeah, fill in the BAMF. It better be good, Fuzzy, because I feel pretty blank standing here, and I don't like to feel blank.
Is it
quoting God?
Copy your homework time again?
Maybe.
Because we got two right off the bat.
There you go.
These guys are a duo today.
Yeah, they're crushing it.
Hard to stop them.
Yep.
We don't need to go any further because I can't. I'll never turn down a good Godfather reference. I got to go with JP's there. I don't like feeling ridiculous. I'm a man that does not like to be made ridiculous. I love that scene. He's like, "Listen here, my Kraut Mick friend," or whatever. He tells him, "I'm actually."
He does.
So yeah,
and
I like
Ryan's
Ryan's
like
answer.
to be made to feel ridiculous. Yep, great line.
Ryan with the frail. That's great.
Yeah, I had to highlight that one just because I was like, gosh, that's so good. I don't like to feel frail. I mean, I believe it. I knew that one because Justin posted it all over Instagram and Twitter.
That's right.
I mean, there you go.
That's the benefits of following me. There you go.
Yeah, right. You never
Very
know.
few,
You could win a raffle ticket for it. Paul, not only just like super glad that you could make the time to do this, but you know so much and you've read so much, and the knowledge you're dropping tonight, man, was fantastic. Huge thank you for coming on and doing this, man.
I appreciate it, man. Definitely was looking forward to this. So great times.
I was thinking, I'm like, how is this our first time having Paul on? I know you are like the X-Men guy.
Yes.
We got to
give him first. I was to say, I think we're giving Paul first pick. Next season, he's gonna go through and look at that Omni and say, "I want that book or this." We're gonna give him some first picks.
Appreciate that, man. You guys are like the Yankees right now. You got a deep rotation. So
why you gotta hurt my feelings by saying stuff? Why you gotta say
totally
stuff?
agree. No, it's good, John. Just thumbs up. Just smile and wave. Yeah.
If you want to find Paul, Back2Back Issues here on Instagram, here on YouTube and on Instagram, you can find him. And of course, hanging out with Morb a whole bunch. You watch the Morbius channel, you're gonna find him a ton over there too.
Absolutely.
Yep. We're on Justin's channel next week. We are going to be talking about
2 weeks.
Sorry, in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
In 2 weeks we're doing the Untold Phoenix saga, and I guess you all have a shot at getting some trivia because this guy's on the show. He can't answer.
That's right.
Zip.
Part of the
He
rule.
is zipped up. Justin, I know you got some stuff coming. Anything you want to say real quick before we jump out? I know we're both on JP Budget Collecting's channel in about 15 minutes.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to talking some Black Hammer. But just Saturday I'll be back. Another Omni X-Men, Comic Collector Origins. Now I'm blending my shows together. But yeah, other than that, and Ryan and I, Fire Guy Ryan, this Thursday, we're going to be talking some more Superman for all seasons, issue number 3 out of 4. So if you guys are interested,
we got to get caught up on that Strange 3 too.
Oh yeah. We definitely
I did not pick it up yet, believe it or not. I hopefully I can get by the shop tomorrow. But
yeah, it's a good one, Paul. It's a good one. We'll plan it out.
Man.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Break it down.
Awesome.
No doubt.
Well, that's it for us, gang. I really appreciate everybody coming by, hanging out in the chat, answering some questions, and we'll see you in 2 weeks over on his channel for the final issue of this omnibus, and then a week after that for the big giveaways.
The finale.
Thanks everybody for coming, and we'll see you again in a couple weeks.
Later.